During President Bola Tinubu's nationwide address to mark the country's Independence Day, he touched on various areas where his administration is putting in the works to improve the country. And he outlined efforts in tackling insecurity, stabilizing the economy, boosting food production, and some other issues. He also announced convening of a national youth conference scheduled to span 30 days. President Tinubu says the 30-day confab aims to bring together youth from across the country to collectively devise solutions to issues such as education, employment, innovation, security, and social justice. He also emphasized that the conference would provide a platform for young Nigerians to voice their concerns and work together to find resolutions. Joining us now to speak some more about the government's plans for the youth, we have joining us via Zoom a member of the House of Representatives, Yewa North Imekoafon Federal Constituency. He's the chairman of the House Committee on Student Loan, Boyega Nasir Isiaka. Thanks a lot, Honorable, for joining us on the program this morning. We also have with us Callistus Okafor, a factional chairman of the Labour Party. He joins us from our Abuja studio. We thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us on the program this morning. Let's begin with Honorable Isiaka. So you had a key committee in the House of Reps talking about, the student loan. The government says, the president said in his address that has since taken off. From your stance, monitoring this very crucial mandate, what's the level of implementation and how satisfactory is it for you and your team?
Well, thank you very much, and happy Teachers' Day to all our teachers.
Thank you,
Nigerians. Well, like the president said, the fund has taken off very well, and students are reacting, to it as we speak. We have about nearly 300,000 students, precisely about 278,000 thereabouts, who have applied. Who have registered. Quite more than 90% of them have been. Disbursements have been made to them. As we speak, about 34 billion naira has been disbursed by NEL Fund to students. Broken down into about 27, billion naira in form of institutional facility, which is the one that is paid to these institutions, various tertiary institutions on behalf of the student, and then about 56 billion naira paid to the students in form of upkeep at the rate of about 20,000 thereabout per student. So what that means is that as of the end of last month, about 258,000 students have benefited up to the tune of about 4 billion naira, from the fund, and the number is counting. More and more institutions are joining. There have been delays at the initial stage in terms of schools uploading the details of the students and also student registering. But I think sensitization is going on as we speak. The MD is in the east where that is going on, and quite a number of sensitization is going on that. So I think that is going on. Like the president said, that has taken off very well, and I think it's quite good for the nation education, for the future of the country, and for the development of the country generally.
Okay, let me quickly come to you, Mr. Okafor, in our Abuja studio. The president in his broadcast has highlighted some measures to tackle some challenges in the country. What's your own reaction to the broadcast of the president concerning the independence? What's your reaction to this? Mr. Okafor, I believe you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
We can also hear you.
Right.
You heard the broadcast message of the president
good morning.
And the interventions put in place to tackle the hardship. What's your own reaction to the 64th anniversary Independence Day speech of the president?
Okay, thank you. Let me start from what Honorable said. Let me join him to talk about that. You see, what I realize in this our country is that the government, when I use the word government, be it local government, state government, or federal government, they may have a good program. But sometimes the people handling it may not handle it the way the government planned it. If what we heard from Mr. President about this education program is real, is good, is real, what it means that the federal government has a very wonderful program to better the education in Nigeria. But how is it being handled will be the question. All these things we are hearing now is on paper. I, as a person, I have never heard that Mr. Peter or Mr. Paul benefited from this program. Now, which people are benefiting from it? I'm talking about when this kind of program is out, you talk about Southeast, or you start about South and West. When you come to the South, you talk about Southwest, Southeast, and South. How many people that's benefiting? Is it going to one place? Is it going to the other side? So when this thing is being shared equally or being shared that every zone, every zone will benefit from it, then you can see everybody will understand that federal government is working. But most times you see that government brought out a very good, a very wonderful program, but people will be saying still government is not doing anything. We're not seeing what the government is doing because the people handling it, they will give us a number, 200 or 4 million or to 48 million. But you may see that it's only 600,000 persons or even less than that is benefiting from it. And it may be from one side. So all I'm trying to say is government having good program is very good.
Right.
Government is having a very program. When I listen to Mr. President, I see a very big program, a good program, but it's on paper. How is it being handled? All right.
That's good. Honorable Isiaka is still with us. Let's, get him to clear that concern, because on Nelfon's website, 362,000 plus registrants, took advantage of that, out of which 268,800 plus, applications were recorded. And Mr. Okafor has raised the point as to, so who are these people? How can we identify them? How can we be sure that this is not just numbers? In your oversight duties, how well do you ensure that, these are people, real people? We even understand that 260 institutions, are also on record of from the students who benefited from the program, who are taking advantage. Help us speak to the believability of the scheme.
Well, I'm surprised Mr. Okafor said he's sharing this for the first time. I mean, surprised not because there's any due to any fault of his, but I know for certain that this is being, discussed all over our channels and all over, our medium, all over the country. When the first set of checks were given at the State House by Mr. President himself, all the regions were represented there, and checks were given. I know in the Northwest we have BUK, in the Southwest I think we have Federal Poly Laro, in the Southeast we have which institution, all of them were there. And the first set of beneficiaries, up till about 6 weeks ago, before we went on break, I've not seen the additional details. Most of the beneficiaries are actually from the northern part of the country, to the extent that the Southeast was talking about discrimination, and that's why there have been a lot of sensation in the Southeast in the last 2 weeks by the management. Like I said, I know for certain that the MD was between Enugu and I think Abakaliki in the last 24 hours, trying to go around and let everybody be aware. And this thing is human intervention in this process is quite minimal. Most of these things are done online. And what is happening is that the institutions were asked to upload the details of their students Once they upload the details, then the students will now register. So once they register, the number you are talking about there, those are the numbers, and it's available. Anybody can go and have a check of it. And of course, if you want the details of all the beneficiaries, I'm sure that NELFund will be able to provide this. I mean, this is an open book. I mean, as far as I know, and it's there for everybody to benefit from. The numbers that have been given, which is corroborated by what you said, I'm sure you got all of this one from the details, which essentially correspond with the numbers that I've given here. All those numbers are available, and it is not as if anybody takes an application to NELFund and say that, look, this is my application. You go to the internet and apply. And once you get there, it's either they said you need to provide more information, or they said it's pending, in which case it's being treated, and then you are going to get it. So that is the situation of thing about that. I mean, we can talk to NELFund, we can push for them to be faster in the disbursement. We can push for them to enhance the sensitization. But to say that is limited to one side or limited to one area, no, that definitely is not correct.
All right, Honorable.
It's an open book. Yes.
Right. Honorable, let me quickly push this question. I know my colleague wants to also take you up further, as well as Mr. Okafor. We are also seeing, in the news, key personalities, senior citizens who have taken it upon themselves to repay student loans that they benefited from in the 70s. How does this, meet you? And moving forward, how are you working to ensure that these loans are paid, pretty soon? As laudable as those moves are, but then what happens moving forward?
Well, we want to thank those people. I also know that, I mean, there's a Honorable Laushe that did. There's a senior advocate, I've forgotten the name now, that also did, and quite a number of people. And these are people that benefited in the first tranche of that happened, I think, in the 80s. But they didn't have anywhere to go and pay to because there was no student loan body. Now that we have this, they are coming back. I think it's a measure of sincerity on the part of those people, and we'll enjoin any other person that benefited from such schemes in the past that have not paid but now have the means to pay, to please come up and pay. That is the only way we can make these facilities and these things sustainable. In terms of repayment, there are provisions in the law. There are provisions in the NELFund Act that provides for how to pay. Once you finish your youth service, you are given 2 years. Within those 2 years, you are not obliged to pay. But after 2 years, you are expected to start payment, except you have not gotten a job, in which case you will have to let the student loan body, NELFund, be aware that you are not employed yet, and then you'll be given time. Then you should be paid. But once you start receiving some salaries or making income, you are expected to pay up to a maximum of 10% of your income in terms of repayment. And when any employer is engaging a student, you will also be required to find out from NELFund the student loan status of that person, so that you know if you have to be deducting or not. So there are those measures in the law that allows for repayment, because it's only repayment that can give us sustainability, and we need sustainability in order for this to be.
Let me quickly put you on the pause. Honorable, let me go to Mr. Okafor, who is in Abuja. The student loan is one of the key components of this particular administration. Aside from that, let's move to other matters from the message of the president. He said that I am deeply aware of the struggles many of you face in these challenging times. That's coming from the president of Nigeria. What is your own reaction as a Labour Party chieftain on some of the interventions put in place by this present administration to cushion the effect of this hardship?
Honestly speaking, as a national chairman of opposition party, Labour Party. I am really happy that the way Mr. President addressed that issue, or his exact statement, he said, and that he understands that Nigerians are suffering. He understands there is hunger. So Mr. President is not that he's unaware what is happening in this country. He's aware that people are dying in hunger. He's aware that Nigerians are suffering. We have gotten to a point where even everybody, the rich and the middle and the poor, we are suffering the same thing. So saying this is very good. Voicing it out, making us to understand as a father, as the president, that he understands what we're going through, is fine. That is what everybody like. But what we're saying is, we want to see Mr. President put immediate measures to bring Nigerians out of this situation we find ourselves. Honestly speaking, it's going out of hand. Honestly speaking, it's going out of hand. All you need then is see individuals, private companies buying rice, buying this, giving to their people. When we have government has shared rice, this is a bet. How many people got that rice? How many? I don't see anybody from my town that got this rice. That is the truth. So what I'm trying to say, Nigerians are not really begging for somebody to buy them rice. Nigerians are very active and struggling people. We want to make our money ourselves. We want to work ourselves. We want to buy our rice. We want to buy our food. We need government to give us that enabling environment to be able to work and see the benefits of our suffering. That's all we ask from government. And having said that, I want also to comment on Mr. President's workers' 20 naira pay. I'm happy from 30,000 to 70,000. NLC and the federal government went into negotiations for many weeks or months. At the end of the day, they agreed on that. I want to commend federal government that has started paying, and some other governments, I mean state governors that are paying, and I want us to advise those ones who has not started paying to pay. When we're talking about this 70,000, what is really 70,000? You see some people who are working from where they are coming from. Take for instance somebody working at Lubwe, living in Lubwe, and coming into state secretariat, federal secretariat, and working at federal secretariat. How much will these people pay? You can see most of them, they will pay 100 and something thousand naira at the end of the day, but they are receiving 70,000 naira. And they were begging that people should pay this 70,000 naira. You see, like I said, I want federal government to always look at these things. And when there is, federal government say, I will do this, I will do that. They have said it. I want them to put a machinery that will supervise the implementation of what they said they would do.
All right. Because
federal government or state government saying one thing is one thing, but implementation is another thing.
So you are soliciting for more implementation to some of the policies put in place by this administration. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I want also, now I want to talk something that concerns me, something that affects me directly. I want to appreciate this government because a lot of things I see is really going very well. Like INEC, let me talk for INEC. INEC is doing perfectly very well now, as long as I am concerned. Take for instance, these issues is also in court. I'm not discussing it, but I'm just making example. I'm just bringing an example. I'm not discussing the issue because it's the cases that's already in court. But take for instance, how do you explain a situation where a national secretary of a acting national secretary of a political party, all of a sudden in a national executive council meeting, become a substantive national chairman? Is is really unimaginable. But it happened.
Right.
That's one of the internal crises that you're having in your party.
Please give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Just give me 1 minute. Some persons in INEC did that, and before the INEC chairman or any other will understand what was happening, it is already there. But you can see now in this government, what I'm trying to bring out here, that in this government you can see that INEC want to correct that mistake they made. Now, so people are crying, saying, "Listen, INEC should recognize." You see the jamboree that happened in Abia State, there where people of like minds come together and put some people and say they are caretaker committee,
right,
or whatever name they give it. If it was before, you will see that they will recognize it. But now they are very careful. They are doing the right thing. So I want to commend this government, that because every institution in this government is very careful, trying to do things the right way. I commend Mr. President on that. And I also commend INEC chairman on that.
All right, Mr. Okafor, let's come over now to Honorable Isaka for, this might just be your final thoughts now, on this segment. First off, your reaction to the planned National Youth Conference, and of course, still as a fallout from the president's speech, he has gone on to bestow the GCON title on the Speaker of the House of Representatives. What's your reaction?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I have to thank the president for listening to the complaints of the House on the title of the Mr. Speaker, and also to thank him for conferring the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger on him as the #4 citizen of the country. I think the other one is that the speech generally, to me, is a very strong speech, a very strong message of hope for the country. I think it lets us know very clearly that Mr. President knows where we are, he knows why we are here, and he knows how to get out of it. And he demonstrated it with the figures and the information he gives in the area of security, in the area of economy, and those other areas.
Right, but what feedback are you getting concerning the National Youth Conference?
Well, the feedback is quite good, and that's how I want to talk about that. I mean, about 6 paragraphs of that speech was devoted to the youth. And the youth conference is the youth. I had some discussions with them. I'm calling from Abeokuta, very close to my constituency. And everybody is, people are really looking forward to being part of that, or at least contribute to that, because it gives them an opportunity. And then the president also gave a sentence in the paragraph so that we're going to look at this very well and also implement. So meaning that the youth are going to be given an opportunity, to contribute to the future, which is actually more of theirs as the next generation. So I think that is a very good initiative, coupled with the 3 MTT of the Ministry of Technology, and also the labor, the other one from Ministry of Labor, and the NEL Fund. I think there are quite a lot of things there that has to do with the youth and the future of the future generation that we have in this country. So to me, it's a whole package of speech that gives the hope, and also gives us an understanding that Mr. President knows where we are, and also gives us an understanding that even the future is as important to him and to the administration as of like today.
Honorable Boyega Isiaka, just in 1 minute, I want you to confirm this to us, that in July, to cushion the effect of this economic hardship, the House of Representatives slashed its own salary by 50%. Can you confirm to us if that is still on ground at the moment? If that's you're receiving
for a couple of months. Since that time, they've been deducting that from our salary. I think it's for about 6 months or thereabout. I can't remember the number of months that we are agreeing now. But I do know that, we've been having some cut in our salary, since that time that was made.
All right. Let me quickly now go to Mr. Okafor in Abuja. Quickly, what is the solution to some of the crises that you are having in your party? Just in 1 minute before we let you go, because we have like 3 chairmen in the Labour Party at the moment.
Right. We even have less than a minute. Mr. Okafor, if you could just give us your response in 30 seconds.
Okay. Thank you so much, my brother. The solution is already what the authentic acting national chairman, is working on now. You see, Callistus Okafor group and the late A.S. Salam, who I was his deputy, his offshoot, Abure, and Abure's offshoot, Apapa, all of us are working. I'm calling everybody so that we can all come together and make peace and take the Labour Party to the next level. Both these people are the only people who has the constitutional right and the judgment, and that consent judgment right to bring peace in Labour Party. No other person has the powers to do this. And that is exactly what we are working on now. And I assure you, in no distance time, Labour Party will become that party that Nigerians are yearning for. Thank you very much.
Right. We thank you very much, Mr. Callistus Okafor, factional chairman of the Labour Party. He was joined by a member of the House of Representatives representing Yewa North Imekwafon Federal Constituency, the chairman of the House Committee on the Student Loan Scheme, Honorable Boyega Isiaka. We thank you very much for speaking with us. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, and enjoy your day.